a racial culture group in 2019? Anybody got an answer? Isn't that depressing?
I think there's areas. I think the picture is not being the
give me an
narrative is
area.
not being shared.
Give me an area. Give me an area where we're outperforming, we're dominating at least one other racial culture group.
Okay, when you put it that way, dominating.
Statistically,
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna have your brothers like this, and you're gonna have your brothers like
You
this.
said you
You're gonna
have
have that. You're gonna have those
Okay,
pockets.
okay, you have pockets.
Right?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
And it's by design, systemically.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I also feel like that we can't throw out the bathwater of black.
Why?
I
So
understand what you're saying.
why do you feel defend the case for keeping black? Defend your platform.
Somebody said sex.
Well, because being here in America, that's all I know in terms of identifying by my color. I now know that it's not this negative energy that mainstream America has tried to paint the picture of black as wrong. No, when you think about who we are as a people, everything came from us. From the beginning, life came from us. So I'm proud to be of a darker skin or melanated. Maybe I should say that. Melanated. Because I know my history and I know King Tut. I know my history. I know that life began with a person of color. I'm not going to let them take that from me.
So you don't acknowledge your culture then, right?
Yeah, I do.
So what's the name of your culture?
But that's what I'm saying. We as a people, I even tell my students this as African American. I ain't gonna say African American. What you say? Right, what they tell us. I don't even like the term African American. We're the only people who really don't know who we are or how to identify.
So you're saying you know your skin color.
I know my
but
skin
you don't
color.
know your culture.
That could be correct. And when in terms, I know my culture of America, greens, collard greens, fried chicken. But in terms of what I'm saying from that, from that aspect, I understand what you're saying. But I guess I'm still saying at the end of the day, because this is what I know, melanated is what I know. I'm not going to let them take what they painted as a negative picture and sell me that narrative when I know as a person of color that I come from greatness, if that makes sense. I understand what you're saying.
Is that greatness that you're talking about coming from your color or coming from your culture that you don't know about?
Well, I guess it could be coming from my culture.
Both.
George.
But it's something to think about.
But to his point, it's not right or it's wrong. I'm really interested to hear your answer as well. It's not right or wrong.
Right,
it's just what do you really believe? Because it's almost the same thing. We take on something that someone else has started and we run with it and we add stuff to it and we don't even really know what we're saying half of the time. So I agree that we have to dig deep and get very confident about who I am as a person, period, dot. What do I believe? What am I inspired to do in this world? What value do I bring? I think that is the bigger conversation, and it gets muddled with all the other things that have happened, and it just is what it is. So I am so interested in your question, and I hadn't thought about that before. It's in my heart and my spirit, but I've never been actually asked that question before. So I was just interested to hear that answer as well.
It is a really good question because it really does frame everything that we do. Even when you go back to religion, it frames what you just said, how we've been given something and we've taken it and we've run with it.
Which we're good at doing.
And we haven't really historically looked at our culture when it comes to spirituality. It's crazy how, some 1 minute something's voodoo, but when you look at historically, that's just what we did. You know what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying. I just don't know how to answer the question.
Yeah, and I'm really not saying anything. The way you put it is perfect. The reason we're in this mess, far be it from me to try to tell you what to think, because that's the reason why we're in this situation now. People telling us who we should be. All right. All I'm trying to do is foster this conversation to challenge the way we're looking at it, because what's the definition of insanity, right?
Doing the same thing,
right,
expecting a different result.
And we keep, all of our endeavors as a community, whether it's Black Lives Matter or this and that, we're always leading with color. And it always takes the predictable route. It gets initial attention, it gets awareness, then it becomes controversial, and then it just falls off to the wayside. Because because
History Month.
all that.
Black
You just blew up our whole
days.
topic then. So we should have just said
No.
men.
No.
You know, and that's funny because I was gonna say that as we were continuing to talk, it's about men. It's about a human being. Period.
Well, and it
And it's about our experiences
Right.
too. It's
Right.
experience
Yes.
that has to be in that pot as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
It has to be. We cannot deny that there's a certain set of experiences that you go through as men, you go through as
Men
women.
of
Just
color.
period.
Right.
So
I like, and that's really the goal that we need to try to get there. But it's a process because of our experiences. A lot of us feel just what you said. Don't take my blackness away. That's mine. I earned it. I got the stripes to prove it. And you're going to catch these if you try to tell.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we are emotionally connected to that. So I am not criticizing anybody who feels that. All I'm trying to do is wake up your thought process as to how you got there. And even you said, that's all I know. That you didn't say, that's my choice. That's what I decided at age 15. This was how I'm going to be. You said that's all I know, which is a different paradigm because you know, obviously you two are highly successful, so there's other resiliency factors going on, other cultural character factors going on that have you making positive decisions in your life. But just imagine how much more powerful you could be when you know who the hell you are. Just imagine. I mean, imagine that. Because we're in last place in every cultural area right now as a group. We're good at like getting our own little spot. Oh, I got mine, bro. Now you got to get your own. We're good. We're good with that. But imagine if everybody here was on the same vibe, cultural vibe, spiritual vibe. There's nothing we couldn't. We wouldn't be. They wouldn't even be in our consciousness.
No.
We wouldn't be saying, "Well, that's what they do." We wouldn't be worried about what they're doing. We don't care about who's in the White House. Just imagine that.
Marcus,
I love
you
it.
awfully quiet over there, bro.
I'm taking all this in, man.
What
I'm
y'all
over
been
here
thinking about?
dissecting breaking my own self down.
that's good.
Going back to your question, you was like, you said we got to go back way back to the question.
Yeah.
So I think you asked how. I don't know. How do we maintain? What was it?
Oh, we hadn't answered
Something.
that.
No,
Was a question
but something about black men. What do we do to something?
Well, I think the question was, where did you go for help? Was it professional or somewhere else? And then we kind of just went.
Okay.
And I think we may have answered.
But where he's going is a good question. The next question will be, how do you guys maintain your mental health?
Okay, so now it's like I'm more so proactive about it. I try to keep that on my mind weekly, like do something. And when you have kids, it's even the small stuff. When you have kids, you down pretty much the outlook counting about a minute. So, whether it's for me to like run out and go fish, and people they're like, "Oh, you go fish, dude? I'm from Georgia, from a small town, a country boy, all day. Don't let this fool you, all day." 706, okay. I still love fishing. So when I get a chance to go, man, I get out there and cast that rod at least a good 2 or 4 hours. Father's Day I went at least 4.5. But again, it was something I learned as a child, something I enjoy. I'm a college football addict. I watch college football the entire season. I can watch it all day. If I don't have nothing to do, you won't even find me because I have all my food, snacks, and everything. When everybody goes to sleep, I'm watching.
All my calls.
Yeah.
So that's your stabilizer.
Yeah, when everybody goes to sleep, I'm watching the West Coast games because it's like 8 o'clock there. I'm still watching it. But again, I had to find those different things, and I also try to check in with others. Try to have that accountability. Check in with other brothers. Hey, you good? What's up? You all right? Because I realize now we don't check on each other all the time. We just say, "Hey, how you doing?"
No, we check each other. We check each other.
Yeah.
We don't check on each other.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? I'm good. That's it. No, like, are you okay? Like,
Nah,
how do you
or you G check them like, "What's up? Where you from?" What, man? Hey, man, I ain't.
Yeah,
like-
which is back to the division that we were just talking about in previous conversation. But I do like your point about, I think both of your points, we got to break the whole division of like who we are based on organization and based on fields and based on this. At the end of the day, I still say you're black. It's good to be in different organizations. We had conversations about organizations before, but don't let that make you. And when I talk to different people now, when they ask me, what is one key nugget you say to take with me? I say, in all your successes, don't lose who you are.
But
Do
to his
not
point,
lose
you
who
gotta
you are.
know
who we
Yeah.
are.
Well, but
Yeah.
to his point,
But you
I
lost
think he's
already
saying
if you
you
don't
gotta
know.
you
You got to know
have
who you are.
that.
I know.
You have to know that. You have to block out all the other narratives and voices and suggestions in order to really get clear on who that is.
Or-
and then when you are clear on it, to be able to stand on that, to be able to stand on it too, and say this is it.
You will get tested.
So the question is,
How do you maintain your mental health now?
maintaining my mental health. You know, I'm one of those people where I love music, right? I'm always like dancing to something. It don't even matter. I could be at Walmart, even though I think Walmart's a whole other issue. But it don't, you know, just little things. I think I remind myself. What I did was one day I took Post-it notes and I put them all over my apartment, and I wrote, you know, certain things like, "I love you. You're beautiful. You're smart. You got this. You can do anything." You know, just different words of affirmation, if you will. Because again, and when you grow up in a black household, like the one I did, and I'm supremely intimate, meaning hug everybody, love everybody that you can. Because when you grow up with lack, you really see that later on. You see the opposite. You're like, man, my daddy really wasn't there. But you have a relationship with him, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're like, man, my family really, they don't really come together. Like, okay, so what can I do about that? So I just opened this book by John Gray, Win From Within. Mm-hmm. And usually I don't really mess with pastors because I like the pastors where I can relate to their sin. Black men have a strong history of cheating and being unfaithful. When you have pastors that are on the pedestal, because people do, and sidebar, people need someone to worship because they forget about Jesus. Mm-hmm. They look at that man or they look at that woman, and that's who they want to worship. Mm-hmm. But I like pastors, I can relate to their sin once God exposes you. Once God's like, hey, he got 12 side pieces, you know what? I've been unfaithful a time or two. Now I can really listen to his message because I can't really see you if you put wings on your own back while you're preaching.
Yeah, that's 8 out of 10 pastors.
Yeah. I like the pastors where I'm just like, man,
I'm
I
push
can.
that up to 9.
Right, me
We're gonna slide that up. We're gonna,
But I'm like, I can relate to.
Or we can just say men.
Well, men too. That's another talk show. Why men too?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, that is another. Yeah, but no, I picked up that book, Win From Within. And I although I don't like reading, I like to listen more than anything. But I think this book is really going to be good because I think John Gray has had some recent issues with
booms.
Yeah, some recent booms, right? And these booms were big because that platform is huge.
Yeah, because he got people moving like from their roots just to like go to that church.
Oh wow! Yeah, I didn't know that. But like I said, they need people. I think when you are lost, you will worship something, and whether that be your own sins, your own issues, your own depressive habits, whatever they may be, you eventually just have to kind of like try to find a way, out of it. Because like I said, for me, I was like, nah, you still the same, you still doing the same stuff, you still the same cat. How can you love and or appreciate a woman if you yourself are still the very thing that ain't gonna really get it as far as trying to have something successful?
Yeah, that's good. Well, we have come to the end of the road, as Boyz II Men would say. And what we like to do here on Let's Go There with Sassy C and Tia is give our guests an opportunity to leave your final thoughts with our listeners of what you would want them to take away from this conversation. Also, as Dwight and George close, please let the people know how they can personally get in touch with you in terms of if they want services or looking for a therapist. We also have a list of Black therapists that Dwight has provided, and we will post that on our Facebook page. We won't go through them, but we will